Good afternoon, y'all. This is Ned over at My Philippine Dreams. Today we're going to be talking about exit strategies. What a lot of you are doing right now is preparing entry strategies. You're doing the research necessary to make a move to the Philippines, to make a move to a foreign country or whatnot. You're employing all due diligence to make sure all your ducks are all lined up in a row and everything's ready, locked and loaded and ready to go. As part of that preparation, you also have to keep in mind that you have to have an exit plan. Call it a contingency plan, call it plan B, call it whatever you want. You have to have something in place in case you get to the Philippines or you get to this foreign country and you realize that it's not all that it's cracked up to be. That it's a nice place as far as places go, but maybe it's not quite for you. So you have to have that exit plan in place. Again, part of your preparation for coming to the Philippines, long-term retirement, extended vacation, remote working location, whatever it may be, is having that exit plan in place. As you're lining up your ducks, as you're plugging all your square objects into round holes and whatnot, make sure that you're employing the time, the effort, the necessary, the blood, sweat, and tears, and all that stuff required to have an effective exit plan. When I came to the Philippines, I didn't actually visit first, and that's something that's highly recommended, that you visit at least once, preferably multiple times for extended periods of time each time, to make sure that you're getting a real feel for how it is. And even then, when you're vacationing here, sometimes it's a little different than living here. But when I came here, I didn't visit first, and I did kind of just leave everything behind. The one thing I did do was, when I sold all my belongings, I sold my furniture and all that stuff, I sold it to a buddy of mine, under the understanding that if I returned within 2 years, that I'd be allowed to purchase all the stuff back from him, with interest, of course. But at least I have that available, because in the United States where I come from, unlike here, your apartments and houses and all that stuff usually aren't furnished, and it takes a while to accrue all that stuff. It's expensive and whatnot. So I have that in place just in case. I also work in a career, in a profession where I could always go back to work. With education and experience that I have, that's always an option. So I have that in place. And I also made sure, and you also as part of your exit plan, you have to make sure that you got a good chunk of change squirreled away in case of an emergency. You can go up to the wall, you can break the glass, you can grab the cash, you can head down to the airport, and at least when you get back, you'll have some seed money. I'd recommend at least a year, preferably 2 years, to get your feet back under you and to get back into the flow of things, if things do not work out here. One of the things I suffered from coming here, and I think this is pretty common, is when we're planning on making a move, especially to like a tropical country, we create this idealized version of it in our heads, which when we arrive at the destination, we find sometimes is a little distant from the actual reality. For example, coming here, I was expecting, white sand beaches everywhere, turquoise water. I was going to rent this nice condo by the ocean right on this white sand beach for $200 a month, because that's what everybody telling me rent was there. I was going to have probably an XR200 Honda Enduro motocross, and I was going to go for extended trips up into the mountains to see the beautiful green trails and to look at the rolling azure sea out into the horizon and whatnot. I was going to jump into my SUV every now and then and go on extended trips and vacations all over the islands. None of that stuff actually coalesced. None of that stuff actually happened. If you want a condo or a really nice apartment on a white sand beach in front of turquoise water, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, probably like $800, $600, $700, something like that. It's going to cost you a lot of money. Enduro motorcycles, I don't fit on them. I got a 32-inch inseam. I got short legs, so they're very uncomfortable for me. And the SUV, gas prices are extremely high here, so it doesn't make sense to keep refilling your tank and going on long trips. It's much easier on your motorcycle. So I created that ideal. I also there were some other things, just small things that seem small at first, like the weather. People said, oh, it's hot and humid. You don't realize how hot and humid it is until you actually get here. And then you hit that wall, it's like a blast furnace. I can remember, and I'll never forget, my first night in Dumaguete. It was my first real conscious night. The previous night I'd been in Manila, but all I did was sleep from the exhausting 30-hour flight. And I took a tricycle, and I even idealized the tricycle. I imagine these big-ass tricycles, and you give the guy 6 pesos, and you sit in a little seat, and he brings you wherever you want to go. No, that's not the case. There's usually like 7, 8, 9, 10 other people on the tricycle with you. And for some reason, my fat ass always found its, way on the back, the very far back of the tricycle, hanging on for dear life, hoping that I don't smash my noggin on the little metal supports overhead. But anyways, so I get on the tricycle with 15 other people. I get down to the tricycle terminal, and it's incredibly hot, it's incredibly humid, it's incredibly congested. There's dogs barking everywhere, as always. And it was a horror show. I couldn't even cross the street. I had to finally sneak in with a group of little old ladies crossing the street, figuring that the Filipinos wouldn't kill them, to make my way across the street. I get down to the boulevard. It's incredibly hot. It's incredibly humid. There's no breeze. I'm just sweating. My t-shirt is saturated. And I'm like, my God, what have I got myself into? My Philippine dream has turned into a Philippine nightmare. Thankfully, I was able to adjust over time, employ my bahala na, start to go with the flow, learn the ins and outs and all that stuff, but that took time. Some people can't adjust. Some people will find themselves, having to go back to their home country. So make sure you have a contingency plan. I think the statistics are the average stay is under 3 years. Something comes up along the way, either the roosters or the barking dogs or the out of stock or any number of things, and they're just like, this isn't really for me. A lot of times, though, it's kids. You'll have kids and they want to educate them in the West or whatnot. So that's a big reason why guys leave. But that's neither here nor there. Moving on. So have that exit plan, have that contingency plan, have that plan B in place. Make sure you have the resources, because that's one less thing as you're making your adjustment to this whole different world, and it is a whole different world. That's one less thing that you'll have to worry about. It's like, okay, if I can't do it, at least I can go back. And I have things in place to allow that to happen somewhat easily. Having that cash reserve is incredibly important. Maintaining your network, friends, family, work contacts, business professional, all that stuff. And your stuff. I mean, I hear guys, and they've never been here, and they're like, I'm selling my house net, I'm selling all my furniture, I'm giving my clothes away to Goodwill, I'm got my cargo shorts and my t-shirt and my flip-flops, and I'm coming. And I got all my eggs in the basket, and hopefully these chicks are gonna hatch. Just be aware, that doesn't always happen. I try to maintain complete and total objectivity on the site as much as possible. It's not all puppies and rainbows, it's not all turquoise azure water and turtles and geckos and puppies and everything. It can be difficult at times to live here. And you already know what some of those are, and we're going to talk about more of them in the future as we go along and whatnot. So have that plan in place. Do not put all your eggs in one basket. Do not burn your bridges. Don't end up like the guys, and I've heard this happening, and I've actually seen it happen once. They've sold everything, they've gotten rid of everything, they come here, their cash reserve, which they think was going to last them, because they hear it's like $500 a month to live here. They think it's going to last them a couple of years. They're out of money within 6 months, and they have no way to get back to their home country, and they have to go to the embassy and beg, and plead for a flight back to the United States or whatever. I know in the United States, if you're completely broke and you got no resources whatsoever, they will provide you a flight back to the country, but you will pay for it. What they do is they notify the IRS, and it's taken out of any future tax earnings on your tax returns or whatnot. So you do pay for it. So don't be that guy. Again, returning to the United States or the UK or Germany or Japan or whatever it is, and all you got is a sunburned cargo shorts, a ratty t-shirt, and some old grimy flip-flops. Don't be that guy. Make sure you have the things in place that you need in case things turn sour and you find out this isn't the place for you. That's about it. You can actually see more on this over at our website at myphilippinedreams.com. And if you like the channel, please subscribe and we'll keep the videos coming. This is Ned, and we'll see you next time on My Philippine Dreams.